Welcome to today's video. In this lesson, we explore flawed software or faulty software and bugs, and how they are fixed using updates, patches, and service packs. These terms appear frequently in CAT exams, especially in System Technologies question 4, as well as Integrated Scenarios question 10 and question 9. And if you like the video, please subscribe. Let's go. Now, it's possible to ask that with flawed software, bugs, updates, patches, and service packs, how is it still necessary to update programs that you already buy? So why do software still need fixing after it's released? And what problems are there and how do we fix them? Now, let's start with bugs. A software bug is an unintended error in a program's code that causes it to behave incorrectly. When a program contains bugs, we call it flawed software or faulty software, software that still has faults. These bugs can cause crashes, where the program stops working suddenly, wrong results such as calculations or outputs are incorrect, as well as security vulnerabilities, where attackers can gain unauthorized access to your information. Question papers sometimes refer to flawed or faulty software. This is usually software with bugs that have not yet been fixed. Risks of flawed software include security vulnerabilities that attacker can use, data loss or corruption, system crashes or instability issues, as well as compatibility issues with other software and hardware. When you see a question like State 2 risks of using flawed software, choose any two of these. Here's a question example from question 1 in a previous question paper. Faulty software contains bugs that A. Damage programs by affecting the way in which a computer works. Not true. B. Use resources by copying the code repeatedly across programs. We will look at the malware that does this in the next video, so also untrue. C. Hide within a legitimate program and contain destructive instructions. This is also a type of malware. And D. Are errors in the code that cause problems and make it unworkable. So the correct answer, if written down, is 1.9 D. Please make sure that you do not write out the full question's answer and only write the correct letter. Here is another question, but this time from question 4. Always answer with bullets and read carefully. State 2 risks of using flawed software. The first, security vulnerabilities, data loss or corruption, system crashing, or compatibility issues. Naming any one of these will give you 1 mark. And you will see that in memos, the answers are also in bullets. So if you say data loss as well as corruption, you will only get 1 mark because it's a mark for either data loss or corruption. A good question then is, how do software developers prevent bugs? Well, there's 3 methods. The first one is internally done by a dedicated team which fixes the code before it's distributed to the public. The second one is where a distributed beta or test version is given to the public and report errors are then fixed or corrected by the developer before the official version is made available. Error reporting is the one you do when a program is not responding, and this is where the developer uses error reporting facilities when a program crashes. Open source software and faulty software risks is a special category. Now you will remember, open source software is software where the source code is freely available for anyone to view, use, and modify. While OSS has many advantages, like being free and customizable, it also comes with 2 important disadvantages related to flawed software. The first one is that there's no official support. Most OSS projects don't have a dedicated customer service or help desk. If you find a bug, you're often on your own to fix it or wait for community volunteers to help. Second, lack of proper testing. Because OSS is often developed by volunteers, it may not go through the same rigorous quality testing as commercial software. This means OSS can contain more bugs and security vulnerabilities. So while OSS is great for learning and experimentation, users must be aware that flawed software is a real risk and they won't have official support to fix problems quickly. Now, a typical question. Give two disadvantages of using open source software. This has been in a previous exam paper. The answers could be no regular updates, no official support, lack of help features, open to software vulnerabilities, and lack of proper testing of the software for bugs. Please note that software vulnerabilities does not mean malware. It simply means that unauthorized access can take place from people outside that gets access to your personal information. While there's always something negative, there's always something positive. For instance, two reasons why a seller would choose to load OSS instead of proprietary software. Linux, for instance, is free to load. It's very stable, can be changed to adapt user needs, and it's less vulnerable for viruses. Now you will remember that proprietary software is paid versions, so people that create viruses usually target proprietary software because when a virus is created, a user will also will be able to pay for an antivirus program, which is not the case for OSS always. So when a program freezes or stops responding, Windows provide a built-in rescue tool called Task Manager. It lets you see which apps are running, how much memory and CPU they use, and it allows you to force close unresponsive programs so that a single faulty application doesn't crash the whole system. Task Manager can also show system information like hard drive size and performance, making it a useful first stop when troubleshooting buggy or misbehaving software. Also know that Control-Alt-Delete and then selecting Task Manager is the method to get to Task Manager. Control-Alt-Delete is also a way to log out of your computer and then just choose the option you want to take. Another typical question. List two common uses of the Task Manager utility program. The first is to close a non-responsive program or forcefully end a task. You can either say the one or the other, not both, and then to check computer performance to identify processes causing issues. You can also say that you use it to check performance issues or performance criteria of your computer, such as CPU or RAM or hard drive space. Now, how is bugs fixed? There's three main methods. The first is the use of updates. An update is a general improvement to software that can include bug fixes, security improvements, and small new features. Updates are usually released regularly. For examples, Windows updates every month. Up next is patches. A patch is designed to fix a specific bug or security vulnerability. Think of it like a band-aid for one particular problem. When a serious security flaw is discovered, developers release an emergency patch. Service packs is the last one. A service pack is a collection of many patches and updates bundled together into one big package. Instead of installing 10 separate patches, you install one service pack that contains all of them. This makes installation easier and faster. Typical exam question. Remember, read your question carefully and answer with bullets. We will look at the next question, which is a variation of the same question, and that's why I repeat, read carefully. The first, recommend one way to fix a software bug, like we just discussed. Install a patch, install a service pack, or update your software. So the other variation, recommend one way to get rid of a software bug other than keeping software updated. And this is why it's always a good idea to remember 3 options rather than just 2. Note that keeping software updated will not reward any marks. So the options is install a patch, install a service pack. CAT questions can be long, so it's always a good idea to read them 1, 2, or 3 times before you answer. This question asks, other than using disk cleanup utility and performing disk defragmentation, give 3 tips to keep computer in good running condition. Now, the memo includes the following. We'll get to the other options now. Download software updates or patches regularly. This keeps your computer in good running condition. The other options includes to run a scan disk, run regular antivirus updates, make backups of data, delete unnecessary files, download software updates or patches regularly, like we just said, update security software, physical cleaning, wiping of keyboards, or protecting against dusts, and the update of drivers. We often mix up updating and upgrading, but they mean different things. An update keeps the main version of the software, but installs small changes such as fixes bugs, security improvements, and minor new features. For example, going from version 10.1 to 10.2. An upgrade moves you to a new major version of the software with bigger changes, like new interface and lots of new features. For example, Windows 10 to Windows 11. The key differences might be updates are usually smaller, more frequent, and free. Upgrades are bigger, less frequent, and may require new license or payment. In the exam, if they ask about keeping software up to date, they're usually talking about updates, which fixes bugs and improves security. What is the difference between upgrading and updating software? And this is where it's important to really know what an upgrade is and what updating is. The first option, there's no difference. In both cases, they have to go online. The last part is true. You do have to download the updates and upgrades online, but it's not true that there's no difference. So A cannot be the answer. For updating software, you need a license number, but not unnecessary for upgrading. This is untrue. You need a license for upgrading. C. Updates you buy new versions and upgrades you fix bugs. Also not true. For updates, you fix bugs and you get a new version for both. For D, when you upgrade software, you probably buy a newer version, and when you update, you download fixes. So the correct answer is D. Most operating systems need to be updated from time to time. State 2 possible advantages of such updates. Remember to answer with bullets, and this makes it easier for your teacher to mark. You also don't need long sentences. For one, it offers better security or bugs and errors are fixed. This can be either or, so please make sure that you do not write both. Modification to device drivers are made. Access to new expanded functions are given. Allow new functionality to some programs, and solve problems that occurred in the program. You can choose any one of these. The following question is good for 2 reasons. First, it's an example of a question that asks for an alternative example and then another bullet to motivate your answer. The question itself also shows the difference between upgrading to a completely different OS versus just updating your current one. The question: suggest an alternative operating system than Windows 11 for laptops. Motivate your answer. You cannot go back to Windows. You need to actually upgrade. So the first option would be Linux or Ubuntu, which is free or open source, or Mac OS because it's good with graphics, or Chrome OS because it's also free or open source. This question simply shows you the difference between updating software and upgrading hardware or major versions. So give two disadvantages of convergence. First, I'd like to answer what the memo includes for what we are busy with. It's difficult to upgrade one component of the device. Upgrade. It also can be relevant to when you buy a Office suite and you would like the new version of it, of let's say Word, but it's difficult to just upgrade the one. You will have to upgrade the whole system. The other options would be that the functionality of many devices is lost if the device fails, short battery life for mobile convergence devices, high hardware demand, reduced specialization, security and privacy risks, mastering of additional skills or overload, and the device is more expensive because of greater functionality, and it's difficult to upgrade one component of the device like we looked at here. Examples such as these shows you how integrate the content is. Sometimes a question such as this is asked. If something hangs, if a program suddenly hangs or doesn't give the correct answers, what should you do? So which one of the followings would you use to solve the problem when your computer randomly hangs after a driver update? The option is system restore, disk cleanup, system backup, or task scheduler. The answer to this one is A, system restore. You can also answer this whenever it is asked if a program is not working after an update or even a driver. So system restore is your go-to. It's essential to keep software updated because updates patch security holes before hackers can exploit them. For stability, bug fixes prevent crashes and data loss. For performance, updates can make software run faster and more efficiently. Compatibility, updates ensure that software works with the latest hardware and operating systems. However, updates can also have some challenges, such as they may consume a lot of data, automatic updates can slow down your computer while installing, updates can sometimes introduce new bugs if they are not properly tested, and that's why some systems let you schedule updates for off-peak times using Task Scheduler. Another question. Discuss two challenges that a user may experience when updating software. It may consume too much data. Automatic updates can slow down your computer. Features can be removed or replaced. It could be time consuming and cannot use the software or applications while updating. And then bugs or security loopholes could be introduced to new software. So just like patches prevents them, new updates can also cause them because it has not yet been tested. Let's talk about Task Scheduler. Now, Task Scheduler is a utility program that schedules updates or backups to run later automatically. They can also include virus scans or shutting down a computer at a certain time. And this is planning tool for future repeated tasks, and it also helps the user to not forget about important tasks, such as updating. Typical exam question. Give two reasons for using the Task Scheduler utility. Schedule time for important programs to get regular updates. Some resource-intensive programs can be scheduled to run during off-peak times. Schedule housekeeping tasks, for example, backups, antivirus, or updates. And then you can also schedule your computer to switch off at certain times, which is also important for green computing. Sometimes updates runs automatically. Now, one way to ensure that the computer does not update while it's being used is to set up a suitable time for updates or use the task scheduler. Now, the following question comes from the May-June 2025 question paper, where Sanele should keep record of the restaurant's information and bank statements. Gives two reasons why Sanele should make automatic updates. Now, how do you recognize this question? It's about automatic updates. So, no user intervention required for backups, so she doesn't have to do it herself. Employees may forget if it has to be done manually. Ensures that backups is always and timelessly done, which is important for a business, especially a restaurant, and schedule backups when computers are not in use so that you don't lose customers because it takes too long to process their requests. Thank you for sticking with me for this rather long video and time to complete the summary. Now, this is best to do from memory without looking at your notes, and it should help you to prepare before the exams. So let's recap the key points for your exams. A bug is an error in code. Flawed software contains bugs. Bugs are fixed with updates, patches, or service packs. Open source software is free, but may lack official support and proper testing, increasing the risk of flawed software. Updating means small improvements to the same version. Upgrading means moving to a new major version. Updates are important for security, stability, and compatibility, and these concepts appear regularly in question 4, 9, and 10 in the NSC exam. So make sure you understand the difference and get these marks. I promise the next video won't be that long, and it will be on system technologies, security utilities, where we will look at all the different types of malware as well as antivirus programs. If you would like to know when the video comes out, please subscribe, and I would appreciate any likes, comments, or shares. Have a lovely evening. Bye.